Hello, everyone. This is Spark Operator Community Call on 9th of August. This meeting will be recorded and published on YouTube. This meeting is governed by the CNCF Code of Conduct. Welcome, everyone. So maybe we can start with this call with a quick introduction. Do we have any new people here on the call who just want to introduce themselves?
Sure, I'll go. This is my first time joining the community call. My name is Jigger. I am from Slack, Salesforce. Yeah, glad to be here.
Thanks, Jigger.
Yeah, I can go next. Hi, Adis Akshay. I'm from Apple. I'm an engineer with notebooks, interactive data science team at Apple. I work with Andre. Nice to meet you all.
Okay, thanks, Akshay. Could you write down your name if you can access the doc?
Actually, I don't have access to the stock. I just requested access, but I think.
Okay. I'm going to put your name down there.
For access, actually try to join Kubeflow Discuss Google group. Let me, to anyone who doesn't have an access, just join the Google group. Kubeflow, I can just post it in the Zoom chat.
Yeah, anyone else?
Hi, my name is Chendu Venigella. I'm very new for the community. This is my second meeting with the Spark operator. I'm from Charles Schwab.
Yeah, thanks, Chendu. Can you put your name down there, or you have the same issue?
Let me check. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Next. Yep. Hey everyone, my name is Mohit. I lead data and AI platforms at Maersk, KP Moller Maersk, if you're wondering. This is my first meeting. Excited about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mohit. Anyone else? Please feel free to come on a camera. Just any new folks. I guess that's it, right? So we can get started. Right. Let me do my intro, and I think most of you know me, but just to start with, my name is Vara Buntu. I work for AWS as a principal architect, and I'm also passionate about Spark Operator and also Spark Operator maintainer. That's me. Today we have a list of agenda items that let's talk about one at a time. But if you have any concerns or blockers that you feel that needs addressing, please feel free to add to an agenda. That some of these topics in agenda, we will make that as an action. So I just added one point because I just want to make sure that we don't miss anything that we discussed in the previous meetings, so that we can bring those actions back to the next meetings again. Right. So the very first item I added here is Spark History Server Helm chart. I remember many of the folks asked me even in the channel, directly ping me as well. So if there is a way that we can actually maintain Spark History Server Helm chart within Spark Operator, but we also had a conversations around whether we really need to put Spark History Server Helm chart within Spark Operator, because these are two different projects, mainly concerned around the maintenance of it. And also Spark History Server needs to be maintained. The images needs to be created and maintained for different cloud providers. So that's where, but I'm going to open up because it's not something that we don't want to maintain it, but I'm going to open up for the community. If you think this is going to be helpful and we can maintain it together, then you can definitely think about it. There is a draft PR raised by Yichen. Do you want to talk about it? Yichen? Can you hear me okay? Yichen, you're on mute.
Yeah, if you're talking, we can't hear you right now.
Okay, I have make a draft of the Spark history server. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Of the Spark history server Helm chart. I think we can maintain a Docker files of the storage service like S3, AU blob storage, GCS, and our Alibaba Cloud OSS. This history server Helm chart is based on the torrent.
Okay.
That one. And okay. That's all.
Okay. In terms of maintaining that Helm repo, and I think the question is, we need to maintain the Helm registry as well for this and create a GitHub workflow and so on. What are your thoughts about? Listen, I'm not sure that they can hear us, but okay, so we can, I think we'll open up for the discussion or the voting for the users, and if they like to see this maintained, then anybody has any kind of opinion on this before we move on to the next topic from the group who joined today?
So I'm just like wondering, so I guess like Spark history server, just another component, right? You would like to deploy in addition to the controller, right?
That's correct. Spark history server is based on the base image of the open source Spark.
Mm-hmm.
And then that comes with a history server built in to this image. In addition to that, every cloud provider will bring their own authentication libraries like S3, Google Cloud, and so on. So which means you need to have the Docker file maintained for individual cloud providers. And also we need to maintain the Helm registry to release new versions specific to, mostly there are not many changes to the Spark history server. I don't remember if there are any changes recently. The most, they haven't done changes to the server for a long time. But if they do, we need to maintain that Spark image and create new images and so on. But yeah, that's
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I guess like for some customers, they probably don't use history server, right? They just deploy the operator standalone, right?
Mostly the users who are using Spark Operator, they tend to deploy Spark History Server as an independent Helm chart because these data engineers wanted to see how their job is running. This is the only way they can visualize the metrics for every single execution. So definitely very important component for anyone who is using Spark, and without this, they can't really identify what's going on in the job. So, but this is tend to be always different project, not part of the Spark operator.
Okay.
So that's where I think brings up the this thing. It's useful, but maintenance of this is an additional burden, nothing else.
Yeah, I think the question would be like, since you mentioned like every cloud provider might have their own image, right?
Yeah.
Like what exactly you're planning as a Spark, operator community to support, right?
That's correct. So say, for example, for the, I don't know if you Qt AI Spark history server, I had to create one for AWS customers. This is something similar to what Yichen raised it, but just see the image is customized to specific to AWS S3. It uses all the S3 and libraries and publishes and uses, but individual cloud providers have to build and manage this on their own. But yeah, this is the one. I know that AWS customers who are using Spark Operator, they use the Spark history server on S3 bucket, which is the same
Yeah,
as.
so Which one, I guess, Yichen is planning to implement initially? Is it
Which is
based?
the Yichens and this both are using open source, but the customization is slightly different. This is more Yichen solution is using more open to everyone to go ahead and implement it for any cloud provider. The only difference is that we need to build an image specific to each cloud provider and maintain it, like 3 different images, and then. But we are also responsible for making sure that is working. That's another part of it. So let's leave it to see what communities. This is a draft PR anyway, so leave it to see if the community what they think, and then if they want it to be maintained, we can take a decision on that. Anyone has any comments?
So just want to ask if in reason to not to use the same helm chart as Spark operator and to have a different helm chart.
Spark operator helm chart only deploys Spark operator itself, but Spark history server is completely different from Spark operator. This is, if I can, Spark history server is, you might have seen something, looks something like this. It's completely
understand. Makes sense. Yeah, I understand the history server component is important and it's deployed as a separate service. But any reason not to use the same helm chart as Spark operator? Like we can have Uber helm chart with Spark operator components and deploy, have a flag to say whether to deploy a history server or any other component or not. Because tomorrow it could be we might end up with multiple helm charts for the same component, like specific to Spark on Kubernetes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like a deployment model. I just want to see what are the trade-offs with having different chart versus same chart.
Right. Spark history server normally is completely an isolated component meant for the monitoring Spark jobs, but it's if we make that as a big, it's not related to the Spark operator project itself because we increase that complexity. Because if there are any issues we have to deal with open source Apache Spark and maintain that, we will have no control of fixing the code itself does not lie here. I know the Helm chart. But if the best way to use this is today, if we can maintain as a separate Helm chart within the project, but not mix with the other one, so that users can have it. And the other challenge is about to deploy this, you need to have dedicated Docker images for each cloud provider. If you are using GCP or Azure or AWS, we can't have a single image with all those libraries built into. So
I see.
With Spark operator, that's not the case. You can just deploy that into any cloud provider today without having to have those dependencies of individual cloud providers.
I see. Makes sense. Any reason not to have a single image? Would it be? Are we concerned about the size of the image?
Yeah, and size of the image and unnecessary libraries, which doesn't need to be there. Like going back to if you look at these Docker libraries, maybe the customers users who are using Google Cloud Storage and they don't want AWS S3 or Azure or
Makes sense.
to be there. So we can still have this like a separate Helm chart as a guidance, and users and provide some guidance around how they can deploy it and use it. But yeah,
so
that's a complexity kicks in. Go on.
I think I have a similar concern with this actually mentioned. We can always have I understand this completes isolated components. Like for example, GPU operator from NVIDIA also has like 5 or 6 components. And some folks, for example, might use the CGM operator. Some folks might not use, NIM controller for GPU sharing. And they have like this flag which enable or disable some part of the components, right? So just as a suggestion, I agree with kind of like with Akshay to simplify users' deployment for things they want to deploy from Spark on Kubernetes. You can basically have a meta Helm charts when people can decide whatever they want, right? They can disable, for example, Spark operator by itself and only use maybe history server, right? And in the future, they can always have a property which history server they want to deploy, right? I just believe it will be easier from the maintenance perspective, from user perspective, to actually use those components as a single Helm chart. Yeah, but if you have like strong objections to keep them separate, it's fine. Like, but
yeah, I mean, I would say for now, do we have an issue for this? Maybe we can start having the conversations with the issue. Everyone can pitch in, and not if that is something that everybody likes to maintain, then we can do that in such cases. The only complexity from my point of view is about maintaining multiple images for Spark History Server, and also the Helm registry. I think we need to have both. That's the only thing.
yeah, but if you have
Yes.
a single Helm chart, you don't need to maintain two Helm registry, right? You just need to maintain one Helm registry, right? And
yes, registry we can, yes, and the images will be multiple images, I guess.
yeah,
Right?
that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Okay.
Makes
So
sense.
let's keep
Yeah,
it
and
open
also
for the
the
discussion.
Yeah, I also just want to see if we can have a single Docker image as well. That will reduce the maintenance on the images too. I'm not sure if how other projects have approached this issue, where we might have multiple dependencies, like with separate packages, right? But still manage a single image. But I'm just want to see if that can be a viable option.
Yeah. So I think let's put that out for the discussion, like we talked about it. I'll ask everybody to chip in and see what we want to do it. Since there is a PR out there, let's just, Yuchen, do we have any issue related to this? If not, could you create one?
Okay, I will make an issue.
Okay. And then we can use that issue to have that discussion and just approach how we can build it. Okay. Anybody has any comments on this?
Sorry, Vara Vikas here. I'm just wondering if Yucharan is on the call, because last time he was in the first Spark operator meeting, this point was very much discussed in detail, and he had multiple points around why we don't want to have a history server as a component of Spark operator.
Yeah, I think he's in the call. He's the one who raised a PR. Yuchen.
No, that's Yichen, right? Or
You're talking about who?
I think I know only by his GitHub ID. You Sharon. See,
Sharon.
yeah.
Oh, okay. He's on leave. Maybe the next discussion. That probably once we have an issue, probably he can comment it as well and let everybody comment on that, and we can take the next steps on that. Does it sound okay for everyone?
Yeah.
I just Yep. Just had an action so that's going to be Yushin is going to raise an issue.
I remember how already has issues about the history server.
Okay.
So you can search it.
Right. Yeah. I think Peter is the one who requested. I'm not sure. Peter is not in the call today, but there's some discussion around it. Let me copy this and we can take that. Let me copy that here. And then so that everybody can go through the discussion there, and please feel free to comment there. I think there's some discussion happen here. Let's go through that. Okay, so we can move on to the next one if everybody is okay. I think it was like 27 minutes now. And I think everybody's there's one thing that I want to mention is today the Spark Operator Helm chart version, and I'm skipping one step below. This one I'm talking about is referring to 2.00 Spark Operator Helm chart, but we don't have corresponding image yet. So if you deploy the latest version, you might get into an error saying, it's missing image, but make sure you change the tag to available tags, which is 162350 is the latest one. Yushan, does the new Helm chart works with this image as well? Could you please confirm?
I don't think so.
Okay.
The new version, yeah.
Okay. So I think probably we merged it without pushing it. Probably that's from our side. We need to fix that hopefully quickly. Is there any other updates you have related to 2.0? Could you please go through those updates to the community? The status.
Could you open the values of the new version?
Yeah, sure. That's fine. Okay. Any line number?
About the values have been refactored, and there will be two major components. One is the controller and another is the webhook, and all the controller configurations are prefixed with controller, and all the webhook configurations are prefixed webhook. And the webhook is enabled by default and cannot be disabled. Yeah, and some values renaming, like
is there a reason why the webhook cannot be disabled? But does customers users need this webhook when they simply use port templates?
I have using the control runtime to reconstruct the operator, and there is a defaulting handler to when users create a Spark application, when the Spark application CR is before the CR or the writing into etcd, it will be handled by the webhook, validate the spec of the CR or default the CR. So the webhook is needed to make the operator work.
Even with the port templates, even if the users use port templates, they still need webhook.
Yeah, it will provide default values of the CR. If the if the CPU cores or memory is not set, the webhook will be responsible for defaulting the values.
Got it. Okay. Makes sense. Thank you. So that's why we made it as a mandatory now. It used to be a switch on and off.
Yeah, and there is a validate to validate the spec of the Spark application. So
Okay.
I think a webhook is needed to make the operator work.
Okay.
Another change is the leader election is enabled by default.
For the controller.
That's when we want to upgrade the operator. The leader election will make the operator
Okay.
uh,
All right. Okay. Thanks. So for now, this Helm chart, anyone deploys this Helm chart with this version, it's not going to work because we need to push the changes. Is there any specific issue? The PR open to fix that?
So one suggestion, maybe you would think about it like, can we just, I mean, because you cannot push the tag which already exists. So maybe you can just disable the part of the pipeline where you push the tag and add the steps when you publish an image after you're pushing the tag, right?
yeah. So I think Vara or Andrew can maybe we are delete the tag and push that again to trigger the workflow.
Yeah, but I don't think we can delete the text, right?
No. So which tag we are talking about? This one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to do zero, RC0, right?
I can delete a tag.
Okay.
We should.
I'm going. Shall I delete now?
If you're going to delete it, can we push it again? Because we never try to do it. Like, do you know?
Maybe we can. So let's try that. Since this tag is not going to be useful anyway.
Okay.
I'm just going ahead. So that's gone now.
Yeah, in that case, I guess you still need to update the workflow to support the pushing to the images, right?
Correct.
The problem is the workflow cannot trigger another workflow, right?
Yeah.
So can you,
So
yeah, good.
no, it's fine. So the workflow which the one we are using.
So I would suggest, my suggestion, just name the section release, right? And when you change the version, then like the first of all, just build an image, publish image, then create the tag and push the tag right to the GitHub, right?
Yeah.
What do we think about it?
Yichen, any opinions on that?
I think the integration test workflow will be responsible for checking the code is working or not, and the push stack workflow, the release, Docker, and the workflow to draft a new release, they'll be put in one work file. So
Yeah.
when the version file changed, we will push tag, and if we pushed was successful, then we will publish the Docker images and draft a release.
Okay, but the thing is, like, the problem is the workflow cannot trigger another workflow, right? So you need to have a one workflow which do the git push, and then like publish image, or first of all publish image, and then do git push, right? Does make sense?
Yeah.
I guess you also need to update the. So where are you updating the Helm chart image right now? Is it manually?
Oh, when we publish the release, the workflow to release Helm charts will be triggered to update the index file.
This one.
Yeah, I see. Helm repo, okay, git index. But where are you updating the version for the image in the Helm chart values?
The version of the Helm chart will be in the chart.yaml file.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm asking about the version of the image, right? Like where are you updating it?
Is under release Docker file. Release Docker file.
Yeah, I don't know. So Yichen, do you know, like, so where do you update the image inside the Helm chart? The image version.
Uh, the image version of the Helm chart is default, but is the app version.
Yeah, that's right. But even like, okay, the app version, where do you update it? Like, when do you update this app version?
Is it part of this workflow app version?
Oh, you mean the version of the images? It will
Yeah.
be will be the tag and strap the prefix v. You can.
Okay. All right. Maybe
Maybe we can
take
think
this
of
offline.
Yep.
Yeah, we can take this offline. We can discuss that a little bit more. So for now, I removed the tag. So maybe you can take a look at this one to see. But the actual code for 2.0.0 is still under this release branch, right? Which is release 2.0.
Yes.
So we need to merge that back into the master before we run the workflow. Is that correct?
When in most cases, the PR will be merged to master and then cherry picked to release branch. But if we want to like some patch PR, I think we can directly merge into release branch, right?
No, I think we're actually right. So before we pushing the tag, we need to check out on the release branch, right? I think in your GitHub action, you don't do this today in your push tag.yaml. You're just basically pushing the tag from the master, isn't it?
This one.
Yeah, because like here, like, because you don't want to push the tag on the master, you don't want to push the tag on the release branch, right? Like the create and push tag, the last step is actually incorrect, right? This one, right?
Yeah, he's checking out both the branches, the one with master, one with release hyphen. If
Yep.
any changes to this, and then just reading the version. So it's pushing to the master.
Yeah, so my feeling that you probably should enable this only in the release branch, right? And you only need to change the version in the release branch, right? But
yes.
yeah, I don't know. Okay.
But I think the last step is the push is the branch that trigger is the workflow, not the master branch.
Yeah, but if this workflow has been triggered by the master branch, right? Because I guess like you need to change in the master branch, no? Or you need to change in the release
It
branch.
is in master. This is in master branch.
No, but I mean this PR, right? This PR.
Its PRA is merged into release branch.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, and the version master is actually the v1 beta 2. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, in that case, it's gonna work. Right? Because it actually, so the question is like, how do you check out of the repo, right? Does it check out the repo on the release branch?
Does it not check out? So is this going to, Is this going to check out only master?
No, the first step, it will check out to the branch that trigger this event, trigger this workflow. So
either release or master, whichever it is, right?
yes.
Any changes to the release should trigger this workflow, which is running in a master. But in this case, okay, if this checks out release 2.0 branch, then we should be good, because that's
yes. Sorry, you can take a look like the URL that I linked in the chat. I think it should work fine, because as I can see the section actually check out on the release branch.
Yeah, I have tested these workflows. The only expectation is that the workflow cannot be triggered by another workflow.
Okay.
I have tried to push the tag directly and it works fine.
okay. So yeah, probably let's fix that. Yuchen, you're okay with that one? Shall we move on? Any more questions?
Hey, I have a quick question. I didn't get a chance to read through this PR, but what are the breaking changes between version 1 and 2?
The major change is we will use controller runtime to write the controller. And for the Helm chart, the values do some refactoring. The only some renaming of the values. And for the Spark CRD, it doesn't change. So I think all the Spark applications now will still work.
Okay.
Got it.
So,
Thanks.
Yuchen, do you have a issue that explains those breaking changes so that we can put that in the doc?
Okay, I think the PR has some.
Has that? Okay.
Also, sorry for interrupting. I think back to Jigger question. I think like there is no breaking changes really. I think maybe we shouldn't do the 2.0 release to not confuse users, because the thing is like we don't do any API breaking changes. It's only about the controller runtime. So I mean, if we do this correctly from the Kubernetes standpoint, we should probably just create a 1.7 release branch, to be honest, because API will still be V1, beta 2, right? Like my only concern is like, are we going to confuse users with API breaking changes with this V2 version, which we not introduced, right?
But I think we cannot upgrade from version 1.6 to 2.0 directly. We need to uninstall the old chart and then install it.
That's correct. So that's the main thing.
Like the webhook secret is in the old version, the webhook secret there's some problem, and for the new version, when we install or upgrade and when we roll back, the webhook secret can work fine, but for the old version, they will have some problem.
Yeah. So it's basically rewriting the whole operator, even though the CRD is not changed much. But I think the action here is we need to write a guidance for the users in Kubeflow documentation saying upgrade things, which is basically they have to deploy new Spark operator, which comes with the new CRD. So we need to clean up the existing one, deploy the new one. That's why it is a breaking change in a way.
Okay.
So let's keep it that way, because the older versions, users can still continue to use the older versions. Once they're ready to move to the 2.0, they're tested with the 2.0 and then eventually upgrade it. So we can put that upgrade guidance in the doc.
Okay, so is there any problem only with webhook? Like, what is the exact problem? Like, why they need to delete the previous Spark operator if the CRD hasn't been changed?
since some resources are managed by the operator and some are managed by the Helm. So when we upgrade, there are some changes. That's for the old version, the webhook secret is created by the Helm chart by Helm, and now it is created and updated by the operator. So I haven't tried it, but I think it will fail to upgrade.
Okay.
If you do Helm upgrade, won't it delete the secret and then the operator pod will come up and then that creates the secret? I think that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, something like that.
It might work. You might want to give it a try.
Yeah. So someone needs to test it, the upgrade, and then write the dog. If that is a simple upgrade of Helm upgrade in your version, it is fine. If not, we'll add cleanup scripts to uninstall and install it. Simple as that. But the Spark definition YAML file CRD is not changed, so that is not a breaking change for the users. That's the main thing.
Okay, so my only question is here, like what in the future you decided to upgrade the CRD, right, to V2? Like what kind of release branch you're going to use, right? Are going to have because we will still have some inconsistency, right? Yeah, but I mean, I think it's fine, but as long as you can like transfer this message correctly to your users, it should be okay. But usually in Kubernetes, version of APIs is exactly the version what they have in your release branch, right? Take a look at any Kubernetes component, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I will added one action here, so maybe we will do some testing to make sure if any of the community members are doing the testing, please feel free to update this talk and just provide some guidance around it or raise a PR, whichever.
So, just last question, sorry. Like in terms of the breaking, like it is fine to introduce breaking change between the minor version. Do you see this for your users is actually the problem to use 1.7 release as the breaking change between 1.6 to do this upgrade? Do you see this as a problem like for most of the users?
The reason we went at the time decided with 2.0 is because it's rewriting the whole operator.
Yeah, understand.
That's the whole idea, nothing else. Because it's not just a bunch of fixes to an existing operator. He pretty much rewritten the whole using KubeBuilder, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we did. But interestingly, we don't have to in terms of the CRD specs. They're pretty much same, but just rebuilding the whole operator. But I would either 1.7 or 2.0. It makes them. I think for users, they think, oh, there is something completely changed in 2.0. So let's be aware of that. We won't be releasing the newer versions of 1.6 onwards. Just I know there are some versions missing in between 1.6 to 2.0, but we will continue from 2.0. I think we should show some guidance for 2.0, and then eventually start working on merge that release 2.0 to the master and start using this branch. We don't want to spend more time keeping that 2.0 as a release branch.
Okay. All right.
And then the other performance improvements that Benzi and Jacob working on the stuff that can be brought into the master branch itself. So the sooner we merge this 2.0 to the master branch is the better. Okay, we got only 10 minutes, I guess, right? So just want to double check if there is any other areas. And I think we covered these two release workflow. Who added this? Yeah, I think we talked about this one, right? So whole discussion around Anyone has any other queries on that? I'll move on to the next one. So manage documentation for every release branch. Andre, did you add this one?
No, not me.
I write this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are some breaking changes about the usage of the Helm chart. So I think we need to manage documentation for each release branch. So users will will read the docs of the right version.
Right. Probably that. Okay. I added that as an action. Maybe we can, I believe that every release we can just add some documentation around it.
I've just got a question over the documentation. It's like, Andre, previously we discussed, or it was mentioned in the community call that you could actually just deploy the Spark operator through the Docker image itself, but there is no relevant documentation about it, especially I'm referring to the documentation of the Kubeflow website. Like if you just want to use a Docker image to deploy Spark operator.
What do you mean by using Docker image to deploy Spark operator?
You said there were two ways, right? I may be wrong over here, that there was one Docker image published by you for the Spark operator, and just I might be wrong over here, but my understanding was that we could either use a Helm chart or we could directly use a Docker image.
No, I mean, the only way is using Helm charts right now, right? If you're going
Yeah.
to.
Okay.
Just
My understanding is wrong. I'll shut up.
Yeah, go ahead, Bart.
No, just a Helm chart, and the Docker image is used by the Helm chart to deploy the operator. I guess that's yeah. That's
Yeah,
correct.
here is an installation, right? Let me add it here. So,
Right. And I think the topic is the release branch, the managed documentation for every release. Do we want that to be published under Kubeflow docs, or we can
yes.
have under release here, under releases as a release text?
So what kind of documentation you want to add?
At least
I
release
guess
notes.
yeah, and I'm just explaining what each release actually introduced. But now I think because we are pushing automatically, it's not even pulling the PRs are part of this 146. What we really need is listing out all the PRs or the changes that are being added to this each release. And then, yeah, otherwise, this is
Take a look.
pretty.
Yeah, take a look at what we do for other components, like for example, training, right? So if you open the Google Doc, like we publish the automated, basically the GitHub release, and we added the breaking changes here, right?
Yeah. I think we need something like this.
So right now we do this manually, but like we have the changelog script. I think Yichan, like you also added the script to the Spark operator repo, right, for changelog. When we compared.
Yeah, I have made a PR to generate the change logs, but we need to organize the order manually. It will list all the PRs and like this in this format, but we need to reorganize it.
Isn't this a lot of work doing this manually for every release? Unless you do it once in a month. Is this how frequently you do this?
Yeah,
Andre?
so we did it like once. I mean, the last release was 8 months ago, but like we have this, this script to generate changelog, and then we group parts by, like by components or by feature, right?
Okay.
But I think as long as you have the script to generate changelog, we can, group them. But it's definitely you need to give some visibility for users to the breaking changes, right? So
yes, yeah. In that case, we should have, I think one way to identify that is mention the breaking change in the title of the issue itself or PR itself? Would that show up here? Like when we do fully automated, not using any manual approach of getting all the change logs, but once they list those change logs here, is this the like say, for example, is this the title of the issue? I'm just
Yeah,
thinking that, yeah,
yeah.
if that is the title of the issue,
Mm.
we ensure that as a practice that breaking change column, blah, 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 so
Yeah,
that we don't have to do a lot of automation.
yeah, you can do this, right? You can also do the labels, right? You can do wherever like you want
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
So this
labels
also could
and,
work.
okay,
But then you need to follow this, right? But I mean, for every PRs, right? For every PR.
but it does a change log, does it automatically? So
Yeah,
the
so
idea
again,
is not to do manually, so that's it.
yeah, I understand. Again, as I said, like we have like the script to generate change log. I can share the
Mhm.
script, but like we still need to group the issues by the topic, right? Wherever like we want to show to the user, right? So the script I'm talking about, it's let me share it with you.
Mhm.
Uh,
Okay, maybe
This
you can
one.
put that here. Okay. All right, let's take a look at that one, see how we can, we definitely need some documentation, not just release notes. People are confusing at the moment what's been released in this, unless they look into that. Definitely we need, not necessarily even if we have the initial version of just showing the issues, and then we can improve that over a period of time. Right, we got 2 minutes left. Anybody has anything? Otherwise, we can move. Who added this? Have we thought about adding API layer for Spark operator to submit tracking?
Yeah, I think it's Jigar, right, from Slack. I think we need to ask him
Okay.
to join next call and
Okay.
discuss this topic.
Okay, so I'm gonna move this to agenda items for the next call. This one, let me put that back into the actions.
I
Right.
think someone actually published, I think he mentioned it, someone mentioned it in the Spark operator channel that they did a Golang UI to actually manage that. And in my opinion, even Spark history server kind of does that as well.
Oh, okay. So that's for the submissions. Oh, yeah, Jacob, I guess, right? So maybe we can ask him to present it when he joins the next call. But yeah, I think we are up the time. If anyone has any questions last minute, or I think we are done. There's a key things that is release documentation, fixing the v2.0. Yuchen, let me know if you need anything. We can connect offline on the Slack channel and get this sorted.
Okay, thanks.
All right, that's it. Thank you very much, everyone. And let's meet again in our next call.
See you guys.
Thank you. See you soon. See you around.
Bye.